We're going through the wrecks and the rocks and the reefs.
It was all chaotic and a bit of a mess.
First good news is I caught a fantastic huge fish.
We struggled a bit to find the right sweet spot for that, which is a bit of a worry. We had a good night's sleep last night. Such a pretty little anchorage. I mean, okay, you've got the naval base, the airport, Singapore, and thunderstorms last night, but it was really relaxing. So I think when we come back here, I'd like to spend a couple of days here. And in fact, further up the river is a recommended, very cheap, very good marina where you can base your boat and go and visit Singapore by ferry. So we may just do that. We've got some friends in Singapore we'd like to catch up with. So watch this space. So now what we're going to do is we're heading round Johor, which is the southeastern peninsula of Malaysia. So we're back in Malaysian waters, looking out for the isolated danger mark there. And we're going to literally go around the edge, and then we start going due north, which is supposed to be rewarding simply because of the water clarity, which we're really looking forward to. Not sure what the weather's doing. There isn't much at the moment. There's a few clouds. I don't think is there any wind predicted?
I haven't checked this morning. Last
no,
night,
we haven't checked.
We have some southeasterlies helping us along.
There we go, southeasterlies.
Once we're around them.
Let's see what happens. We're approaching Johor harbour limit now, so we're now on the sort of southeast corner of this peninsula, and we're not quite in the shipping lane, but we are surrounded by many boats at anchor. Most of them are tugs. There's a few bigger boats out there, but it's very strange. None of them are moving. There's a little longtail nipping in between them, probably the pizza delivery boy. But the most fascinating thing this morning are these two enormous things here. I'll zoom in on them in a minute. One's called American Rover and one's called Ocean Rover. When we first saw them, we thought they're oil rigs, and they're not on the charts, not even the most up-to-date chart. How strange that they wouldn't put that there, but as we got closer we saw them on AIS, so we think they are roving vessels. But if anyone's got any ideas as to what they might actually be doing, be very interested. They could be temporary oil rigs, they could be some kind of dredging thing, or maybe they're actually putting in piles, but it's a bit overkill for something like that. So yeah, let us know what you think. 12 knots of true wind, and we had a nice close haul there as we were motor sailing. So of course it's time to get our head sail out, furl it out, wind drops to 2 knots. So anyway, we've actually kept it out, so we've got all the sails out now, but we're still motor sailing. We're kind of hoping that as we turn around the corner, well, A, the wind might pick up, and B, yeah, well, we'll get a good point of wind. You see, the problem is that for the first 30 miles down that coast, there's lots of places to anchor because it's shallow, but none of it's protected. So we're actually trying to get to a bay called Jason's Bay, which we've been told is good protection, but not to enter at night time because there's a lot of fishing nets. Wind is now backed. I've got to get back and furl that sail away.
We're going through the wrecks and the rocks and the reefs here on the southeast side, which is going to shave off a great deal of time and distance for us, we're hoping. Right behind me there is a wreck. It's we think it's the underside of a barge. It looks like something like that, looks like it's turned over. And we're always very interested to know why the wreck happened. It would be great if they could put a little story on the charts telling us.
You're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. This is through the polarized filter. I've got my polarized glasses on, and this is what we can see together, and it's this the visibility here is incredible. It is so clear. It reminds me of the Mediterranean, actually. I haven't seen this kind of visibility for a while, and you can just see those layered textured clouds. A bit of weather over there, but I don't think there's anything too much to worry about right now. But look at that, look at the contrast between that sky and the sea. Now, we were told that the sea here is supposed to be a lot cleaner and clearer. I'd say it definitely looks cleaner. I don't know about clearer yet, haven't had anything to gauge it by, but it's looking pretty special, and I just love these cloudscapes. It's these kind of cloudscapes across the sea that appear to go on for infinity that I love. I love this kind of vista. It's a shame we're still motor sailing. There's still not a lot of wind. Would be nice to be sailing up the coast, but as I said earlier, we have to get to this one anchorage at daylight because of the fishing nets apparently that appear in the bay, and they can be a bit of a hazard, so we should get in before sundown. Liz's first catch in a while, and we're not entirely sure what it is. Catfish or shark?
There's two good news. This first good news is I caught a fantastic huge fish, but the bad news is we didn't know what it was, and we didn't like the look of it. It was covered in spikes, so we put it back. But the other really good news is because we slowed the boat down, we realised that we were getting quite a bit of speed just with the sails and perhaps with a bit of current. So we've nearly turned the engine off, and we've put the foresail out, and we're doing low fours to mid fives knots.
Why is the engine still on?
The engine's still on because you've got the water maker going.
Well, I think we can turn it off now. Early start today. We're now going to Tioman, which is approximately 60 miles away. So we've got to get an early start if we want to get there by dark. If we're lucky, we might end up like we did yesterday with some decent wind to sail. But at the moment, all we've got at the moment is the lumpy sea left over from yesterday's wind and no wind to start with. So anyway, nice morning. What you didn't see last night when we came into Jason Bay was the rolling sea, and the wind had picked up and we were coming in quite nicely on the head sail, and then it gets quite shallow quite quickly. Lots of fishing nets or fishing pots everywhere with flags. So Liz was on the helm trying to negotiate that, and we tried to furl away the head sail, and yeah, didn't do a very good job of it, unfortunately. We wrapped the sheets around the sail itself, and anyway, it was all chaotic and a bit of a mess. We lost a couple of turns on the drum as well, so now the line falls right out with no turns left on the drum. It's always a bit of a worry. So today we're making our way up to Tinggi, which is just over there. We attempted to get the head sail out again. The wind's right behind us. There isn't much wind, but having problems furling it away at the moment. There seems to be a sweet spot between the halyard being too tight and the halyard being too loose. And now we've got a little bullseye at the top there to prevent halyard wrap, which we've had a problem with in the past. And halyard wrap is where the halyard itself actually wants to turn with the sail. But if it's too loose, of course, the halyard at the top is too loose and you have that problem. But also if it's too tight, it prevents the top furling mechanism from turning. So it's perhaps pulling at too much of an angle. So we struggled a bit to find the right sweet spot for that, which is a bit of a worry. So might have to have a look at that when we get to anchor where there's no wind and see if we can sort the problem out.